Hello, and welcome to another episode of My 30 Plus Decks. Today I'm going to be using one of the ones from the Doctor Who pre-con deck. And that one is Evil, with Davros, Dalek Creator. So, this one is a 3/4 alien scientist, has menace, and at the beginning of my end step, I create a 3/4 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. If an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, then each opponent who lost 3 or more life faces a villainous choice. Either I draw a card or that player discards a card. So this deck, truth be told, is a little bit interesting to playtest. I definitely enjoy it as a deck. I really do enjoy playing the villain of a game or just being the threat. Either way, I think this deck does a great job of doing that. It is very good at getting 3 damage through. Menace is a great way to do that. I also have at least Silent Arbiter in the deck, which makes it to where no more than one creature can attack each combat, and no more than one creature can block each combat. And since my guy's got Menace, my opponents won't be able to block him. It definitely slows down the game a little bit, but it gets my engine going that much more. And then once the Silent Arbiter's dead, I just have a whole bunch of resources, or they're down resources, or both. It's great. Let's see. Other things about this deck. Yes, I did make some adjustments, taking out a couple of the villainous choices, and it's also not really great for showing off. But I do have things like Mindslaver in the deck that can gain control of someone's turn. I have it was like an Apple of Eden, and that one I thought that was definitely interesting, but it makes it to where you can effectively cast spells from someone's hand. And so it definitely just kind of went with this evil theme. Yeah, with that, I hope you are excited to watch, because I know I'm excited to play for you. Let's go. Let's see, I did draw my hand already. Let's get going. Turn 1. Draw. Okay, that actually is better than my other starting land. Crumbling Necropolis enters tapped, and let's go to turn 2. Untap, upkeep, draw. Let's see, can't quite do that one. So let's go Thriving Moor. When it enters tapped, I will choose red, so it can tap for a black or a red. Let's go to turn 3. Untap, go to upkeep, and draw. Let's cast something. So let's play Gallifrey Council Chamber. It's a land, legendary land. When it enters, I surveil 1. And I think that I'll put this into my graveyard. And it enters untapped, so I will tap these 3, casting Foundry Inspector. Just as it goes, Gallifrey Council Chamber can tap for a colorless, or it can tap for one of any color, only to cast Time Lord or Alien spells, or activate an ability of a Time Lord or Alien. My commander is an alien scientist. So, tapping those for 3, getting out Foundry Inspector. Artifact spells I cast cost 1 less. And also notably, my commander is a legendary artifact creature. So let's go to turn 4. This is a very artifact heavy deck, and I enjoy it. Draw. Let's see. That kind of works for me. Let's go with a Frostboil Snarl, and I will reveal a mountain from my hand so that it enters untapped. Now I'm going to go ahead and go blue, black, red, because it costs 1 less. Actually, because it costs 1 less, let's tap the Gallifrey Council instead. Having that one tap for 1 of any color. Davros is out. 3/4 menace, and all of his other things. Technically, I could swing with Foundry Inspector, but I don't want to. It's more of a combo piece. But it's got a 3 power, so I could be dealing 3 damage potentially, but no. Let's not even worry about it. Untap, upkeep, draw. Okay. Let's go ahead and not even worry about that. Let's get a tapped land. I'm a fan of Archway of Innovation. It enters untapped if I have an island, but I don't right now, and that's fine. I can tap it for a blue, or tap a blue and have the next spell I cast have improvise, so I can tap artifacts to help cast spells. Then I will tap 1, 2, 3, because it costs 1 less. Silent Arbiter. I did end up drawing into him, so that's awesome. Now, no more than one creature can attack each combat. No more than one creature can block each combat. So I'm going to swing with Davros, Dalek Creator, at one of my opponents. Effectively, that will be 3 unblockable at them, since it's Menace and they can't block with more than one creature. And so me moving to my end step, I will not only make a 3/3 Dalek, but they will have to choose a villainous choice. This time I'm going to say they discard a card, so I won't worry about drawing. Let's go to turn 6. Untap. Upkeep. Nothing. Draw. Okay. I have options whether I play a tapped land or not. So let's just play this tapped land. It enters tapped unless I control an island or a swamp. I do not. Then let's go ahead and... Now, I'm just at a little bit of a not sure what I'm going to do, and I'll show you why. Like I was saying, this is very reliant on my opponent's decks and what they're doing. So I have a Snuff Out. I can pay 4 life rather than play this spell only if I control a swamp, which I currently don't. I could hardcast it to destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. Or I can just save it for now. Ensnared by the Mara. Each opponent faces a villainous choice. They exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then I may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Or that player exiles the top 4 cards of their library, and this deals damage to them equal to the mana value of those cards. So I could play this one and just say that they each take the damage, and so I don't get any extra spells. Whatever. And Auton Soldier, which is awesome. I may have it enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it isn't legendary, and is an artifact in addition to its other types, and has Myriad. So actually, let's go ahead and cast Auton Soldier. For blue, and 1, 2, 3, because he is an artifact creature, and costs 1 less. Casting Auton Soldier as a copy of Davros, except he is not legendary and has Myriad. Now, this turn, he can't attack. No haste. But I can swing with the original Davros. Whoever I'm swinging at can't block. And moving to combat, I have 2 triggers now that see an opponent losing 3 or more life. So that means I get 2 more Daleks. I am up to 3. And then that player would have to face the villainous choice to either discard a card or I draw a card. And honestly, the typical thing for them to do is they discard a card and I draw a card. They're not going to discard 2. So I will just draw a card. And I think that's pretty decent. Let's go to this final turn. Untap. I've got nothing on my upkeep. So let's draw. Okay, alright. Let's go with a Storm-Carved Coast. It enters the battlefield tapped unless I control 2 or more other lands, and I've got plenty. And then the cool thing about this is I can declare attack with the Auton Soldier, which is a 3/4 menace, Myriad, So I get three. It would be one attacking one of my opponents, 2 copies attacking my other 2 opponents, and because I'm assuming that I'm playing with 3 other people, and the 2 copies would not stay around, but that would be 3 damage to each of my opponents, because they can't block with more than 1 creature, and that was me only declaring attack with 1 creature. So that's actually an awesome interaction right there. That would mean, now it's something like, if an opponent lost 3 or more life, I make a Dalek. So if I go to my end step, which the Ensnared by the Mara is really the only thing that I'd have. Unless, of course, I backed up and said I didn't play the Storm-Carved Coast, and I played this Fiery Islet just to pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card, which is also more land. So no, that doesn't help anything. Going to my end step, I would see that each of my opponents lost 3 life, which means I'm making 2 Dalek, 1 for each. It's only limited to the 1 Dalek if any of my opponents, any 1 or more, lost 3 life. But since each opponent has to make 2 villainous choices, I am going to say that each of them will discard a card and have me draw a card. So I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3 cards. I just drew more land, so I think that I'm going to discard some land. Let's discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That wouldn't be too bad. Oh, but do I want to keep... Okay. How about those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, Exotic Orchard and a Mountain, I'm just going to discard. Exotic Orchard, the main reason that I'm discarding it, and that isn't necessarily a choice that I would make in an actual game, but the reason that I do is in a game like this, I don't know what I'm going up against, so I'm just going to assume that I don't have the colors that I need. I'm not going to treat it as rainbow, I'm treating it as colorless. I had a Coveted Jewel, which is just silly. I think it's funny in an evil deck where I'm trying to get people to maybe attack me, or I'm defending a jewel, and then if they get it, then I'm having them fight against each other, or it's kind of funny. It's almost like introducing a really broken version of Monarch. Anyways, Cybership. It's an 8/8 for 6, but it's a vehicle, so its crew is 4. It also has flying. Let me just zoom in on this one. It's cool. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, I put the top 2 cards of that player's library onto the battlefield face down under my control. They're 2/2 Cybermen artifact creatures. I think that's cool because of how many things have come around of just face down things or looking at face down things, and these are now face down Cybermen. I think it's just neat. Snuff Out, you saw this one. Storm-Carved Coast, Creeping Tar Pit, I decided to keep into my hand. Same with the Temple of Deceit, just to have scry. But yeah, that was the first game. Let's shuffle up and move on to this second one. Let's see. Token goes there. And yeah, so you probably can understand what I'm talking about, where it's a little bit hard to practice a deck like this. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to practice a deck like this. It's a great thing when I know how my deck is supposed to work. It's something where some of these villainous choices, I'm like, okay, I haven't actually seen this card, I haven't actually played this card much. But once I get it into a practice game, I can say, okay, I know exactly what that would do. And I can only imagine what it would do in an actual game. So that's kind of the downside. But then it comes to familiarizing myself with my deck. So I think it's just all around a great thing. And that was plenty of lands. Oh my gosh. I was just reworking this deck and it has 37 lands. So I typically have been shooting for 38, but I know 36 is definitely like a minimum I'd want to have. So 37's not bad. But with the amount that I got right there, I hope that it's not, I don't know, huge gaps without mana or without land. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. That's 1, 2, 3 lands. I think I can rock with that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's run with it. Yeah. Turn on. Draw. Okay. Let's go with a Drowned Catacomb. It enters tapped unless I control an island or a swamp, which I don't. That's okay. Turn 2. Untap, upkeep, draw. Let's go with a... Oh, where was that one? This one. Shadow Blood Ridge. Is that the one that I want to go with? Yeah, I guess it is. Tap 1 and it to add a red or a black. The main reason that I don't like these lands is that they don't tap by themselves. And so, since I need a blue and a red, I cannot get a blue and a red with these 2 lands. Anyways, turn 3. Draw. Let's go ahead and play Darkwater Catacombs. So I'm going to have to tap this one for blue, tap this one for blue-black, and then use the black to tap this for black-red. Something along those lines, so I'd have black, red, blue. Now, do I want to do... Yes, I do. Just using red, blue. Joyra, Ageless Innovator. 2/3. I can tap her and put 2 Ingenuity counters on her. Then I may put an artifact card with mana value X or less from my hand onto the battlefield, where X is the number of Ingenuity counters on Joyra. Let's go to turn 4. Untap. Upkeep, draw. Let's go ahead and go Shipwreck Marsh. Enters tapped unless I control 2 or more other lands, so it does not enter tapped. Let's go ahead and go blue to tap you for red-black. So it's red-black. Use the black to tap for blue-black. So that's red, black, blue, and 1. Why is this so difficult? It's something silly like that. Jorah, I will actually keep untapped. I will pass my turn, and then before I actually get back to my turn, I will tap her, put 2 counters on her. I don't have anything useful for that, so let's go. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. That works for me. Let's go land for turn. I'm actually really a fan of him, so let's go this one for blue-black, blue, and then using that black for red-black. So that's blue, blue, and 2, effectively. Flood of Mars. Now let me zoom in on this one, because this one's awesome. So this one's a 4-cost 3/3 Island Walk. So if you control a island as the defending player, this creature cannot be blocked. So if my opponents have an island, then it cannot be blocked. And whenever the Flood of Mars attacks, I put a flood counter on another target creature or land. If it's a creature, it becomes a copy of the Flood of Mars. And if it's a land, it becomes an island in addition to its other types. So right now, I guess I can't really do anything. But as soon as it starts attacking, I can put a flood counter on the defending player's land. And hey, now you have an island. And mine's Island Walk, so now you can't block it. And it's a 3 power, so it just unlocks Davros's thing. Continuing, I think that I will pass the turn. Let's go to turn 6. Before it comes to me, I will tap Joyra again, bring her up to 4, and then I will put a Foundry Inspector. I just realized. There we go. Tap Joyra before it comes back to me, put a Foundry Inspector from my hand onto the battlefield, and then untap. Upkeep, nothing. Draw. Well, I might miss a land drop. Ooh, but I might not. Let's go ahead and use Joyra right now. 2 counters. Coveted Jewel. When it enters the battlefield, I draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And I can tap it for 3 mana of any one color. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attack me, and they aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel. Untap it. So I think I will go land for turn. It's a Thriving Moor. It enters tapped, and I will choose blue. No. Red. I got plenty of blue. Let's choose red, so it can tap for black or red. Yes. Then let's go this mountain for this one being blue and 1. Casting Chief Engineer. Artifact spells I cast have Convoke. So I can tap my creatures to help cast artifacts. And if it's a blue creature, it can tap for blue. If it's a red, black, blue creature, it can tap for one of those colors. Or it can just tap for a generic. Let's keep going. I will tap this to tap Shadow Blood Ridge for black, red, and then tap this Drowned Catacomb for blue. So black, red, blue. Angelo the Painter. This is a 1/3 Death Touch. The first instant or sorcery spell I cast each turn has Casualty 2. So as I cast it, I can sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater, and when I do, I copy that spell and choose new targets for the copy. Let's go ahead and go to combat. I think I'm going to swing with the Flood of Mars. Mentioning what I said last turn, I'm going to put a flood counter on the defending player's land, so this is unblockable. So I swing in with 3. So I'm going to consistently get that Coveted Jewel back if anyone hits me. Anyways, him dealing combat damage will mean that at my end step, I will trigger Davros, and I will make a Dalek. Yeah. Now I can move to my next turn, my final turn of this one, and not have to worry about anything. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. And let's see about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Costs 1 less if it's an artifact, which I'll be honest, there are no artifacts in my hand right now. So let's go tapping this red to tap this one for red, black, blue. So it's going to be red, blue, and 1 for Xiaojun. 3/3 flying first strike as long as it's my turn. And I can tap 2 untapped artifacts I control to have Xiaojun deal 1 damage to each opponent. So if I get up to like 6 artifacts, which right now none of my lands are artifacts. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now I've got 4 artifacts. If I can get a couple more, then I can just start tapping 6 of them on my turn to trigger Davros for each of my opponents every turn consistently. It still taps down a bunch of things, so let's go ahead and move to combat. Swinging the Flood of Mars at someone else, giving them an island or making one of their lands an island and swinging in for free. I will then go to my end step and yet again make a Dalek, and then I'll show you what was in my hand. And this turn and last turn, I really wasn't worried about anything attacking me and trying to get the coveted jewel because of cyber conversion. Now, that's not a complete, diversion to my plans, but it is something that would take care of a big thing attacking me. Turn target creature face down. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. I would have sacrificed one of my Dalek tokens and used Anello's Anhelo. It would have been the casualty 2, so I would have copied this, so could have had up to 2 creatures just face down and become Cybermen. Much easier to deal with. I had the Rani, which can give auras. It's when she enters the battlefield or attacks, I make a red aura named Mark of the Rani, and I put it on another target creature. That creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. And just whenever whenever a goaded creature deals combat damage to one of my opponents, I investigate. So it could be interesting. It was a potential backup commander, but then there's Missy, who was the backup commander. Just drew into her 3, a blue, a red, and a black for a 4/5 Time Lord Rogue. Whenever another non-artifact creature dies, I return it to the battlefield face down, tapped, under my control. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. And at the beginning of my end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice of either each artifact I control dealing 1 damage to that opponent, or I draw a card and chaos ensues, which is another aspect of this deck which I took more and more out of. Chaos ensues is with... Oh man. It's on the tip of my tongue. Pretty much like a planar deck. That's what it is. To trigger whatever the active plane we are on if we were playing with planes and that style of things. This one being one of those from that Doctor Who, I guess, pre-constructed deck. All of them had different planes that you could travel through, and I think that all of them might have had some ways to do with it. Or maybe this was just the one. I don't know. I have those, but it doesn't happen too often. Those Doctor Who ones were especially broken. They were just almost unfair. Anyways, Doomsday Confluence, I think, was the last card that I had. X, and a black. I could choose X, and I can choose the same mode more than once. Either each player sacrifices a non-artifact creature, which I had a handful, so I wouldn't have wanted to do that. Create a 3/3 black artifact creature token with menace. I had one, so I could have even cast this for as big as I could have and then sacrificed it to copy the spell, making just that many more Daleks. Or each opponent discards a card. That one was probably going to be my next big thing. Yeah. And right now, if I were to do that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to work with. So I could put 5 into it to be 4, and then sacrifice a Dalek to get 4. Anyways, it's not a bad spell. That next turn it could have been much bigger. Let's just go on to this next and final playtest. Let's keep on chugging along. That definitely was a nice showcase of the deck, but I will be honest, I wish that I had a little bit more artifacts in hand when I had the guy out to be able to cast artifact spells as though they had Convoke. Man, that's when it starts getting fun. Okay. Let's go one more game. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So far I got 4 lands, I think. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands. I'm going to run with it. Start. Draw. Now, truth be told, I've got a 4 cost, 6 cost, and an X cost, so can't say that it's going to be perfect. As far as the order of these lands, most of it doesn't matter. So let's go something like Lava Claw reaches, enters tapped. I can tap it for red or a black, or 1 a red and a black to make it a 2/2 black elemental with tap X, and this creature gets +X/+0 until the end of turn. It's still a land. Tap. Turn 2. Untap, upkeep, draw. And Choked Estuary enters tapped. I could reveal a island or swamp. I don't have one in hand, so turn 3. Untap, upkeep, draw. Let's go with another tapped land, a Dragon Skull Summit. Enters tapped unless I have a swamp or mountain. And right now I don't. That's alright. Let's go to turn 4. Untap, upkeep, draw. Okay. Let's go with this Fiery Islet. Go black, blue, red, and 1. Cast Davros. And I lose a life because of this Fiery Islet. Let's go ahead and move to turn 5. This one's a little bit slower, but that's alright. Draw. Okay. Would I rather... Yes. Terramorphic Expanse. I'll crack it in a second. Let's start going with this. 1, I pay another life. 2, 3, 4. Silent Arbiter. And then I will swing with Davros. That's Menace. No more than 1 creature can block each combat, so that goes through. I will crack this Terramorphic Expanse, and I will search for... Let's see, does it even matter? I don't think it does, really. Let's go for an island. There's an island. And I will shuffle. After I shuffle, that will be my end step. I will trigger Davros because I dealt 3 or more damage to an opponent. So I will make a 3/3 Menace Dalek. And that player, I'm going to say, will discard a card. So that will be a Dalek. That will be moving to turn 6. Untap. Upkeep, nothing. Draw. Exotic Orchard. Like I was mentioning earlier, I'm going to treat that as a colorless. Let's go with you. Blue, red, black, and 1. Cult of Skaro. When Cult of Skaro attacks, I choose 1 at random, so I'll get a D4 when I get a second. Either put a 1/1 counter on each artifact creature I control, draw 2 cards, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with Menace, or each opponent loses 4 life. That's just on declaration of attack. But this turn, it does not have haste. It is summoning sick, so let's swing again with Davros at the next person in line to take it, I guess. And that will be 3 to the face. Going to my end step, I will be making a second Dalek token, and they will discard a card. I will not be drawing. Let's go to this final turn. On tap. Upkeep, nothing. Draw. Okay, it's a little bit late, but Path of Ancestry enters tapped. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Definitely could, so let's go ahead and do it. Blue, red, black, and 1, 2, 3. I do pay a life from Fiery Islet, and that will be for Missy. So just again with her, whenever another non-artifact creature dies, return it to the battlefield face down, tapped, under my control. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. So with that, anybody's creatures, if they are not an artifact, they come to me as a Cyberman. So if I kill my opponent's creatures, then I get a Cyberman. Something like that. And then at the beginning of each end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice, which in this context will be them taking 1 damage for each artifact I control. Let's see. Let me go ahead and grab a D4 because I want to see how Cult of Skaro goes. Right. So, just 1, 2, 3, 4, top to bottom. That one is a 1. Yes. So, when Cult of Skaro attacks, just a second. When he attacks, I will put a 1/1 counter on each artifact creature I control. Yes. So he gets 1, Silent Arbiter gets 1, Davros gets 1. Missy does not, but my 2 Daleks do get a 1/1 counter. Sadly, that makes him a 5/5 on turn 7. He very well might die, and he is an artifact creature, so he would be going to the graveyard. I could have made a safe call and just swung with Davros, but who knows? Who knows? Anyways, that's just about to be it. Snuff Out came back to me. This is how it ends. This one I actually kind of like. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library, then faces a villainous choice. Either they lose 5 life or they shuffle another creature they own into their library. So that one's just funny. Delete. This one is delete deals X damage to each non-artifact creature and each player. I have actually legitimately 100% used this to kill everybody, including myself, ending in a draw. That was fun. And Doomsday Confluence came back to me. So that one, I guess I saw a number of repeat cards, but it also did something completely different every game, just like I expect. So yeah, I think those were kind of fun playtests. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you come back and watch another. Yeah. Hope you had fun. I know I did. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.